Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Snark Bait. I'm Christy.
I'm Sophie, and today we were talking about Justin Timberlake, old JT. We were talking about his background, his early NSYNC days, his solo career, and of course, the lots of scandals and controversies. There's Nipplegate, there's really his relationship with Britney Spears, his GUI. This is going to ruin the tour. um, and so much more. So let's get into it.
Let's do it. Hey, Sophie.
Hey, Christy, how's it going?
Oh, my voice is a little lost. As you know, I was in Vegas this past weekend, which is why OOR stepped in while I was OOO, which I loved, by the way. I actually cackled when I was listening to you and Olivia this morning. You guys did an excellent job, by the way. I was like kicking my feet, saying,
Oh
it
my
feels so fun to
God.
listen as a fan.
Thank you. Yeah, OOR did an amazing job, but we are happy to have you back. And I just did a last minute trip to Miami just for funsies. So that's why my background is a little bit different. But I guess so you had fun on your bachelorette.
Can I just say one anecdote that I think the
Yeah.
audience will find really funny? So I was at a bachelorette trip. Shout out to Emily, who's the reason I even know who you are, because she's been a Twitter follower of yours for years.
Oh.
But it was really funny because on the itinerary on Saturday night, we were supposed to dress as college, like college night.
Hmm.
So think bandage dresses, bangles, chunky necklaces. And when I say that we committed to the bid, I'm not even exaggerating. Like Emily was wearing this like see-through meshed white lace top with a black bra underneath,
Love it.
and everyone was wearing bandage skirts. My friend Emily had feathered earrings. Everyone had the chunky necklaces. I felt so ugly, but we were so committed to the bit. And the night before, we had like one of my friends had was interacting with the promoters. We got in no problem the first night. But this night, right? And oh, by the way, when you go to Vegas, the promoters ask for a group pic. Did you know this?
No.
Yes. So they go, if you want a comped table, I'm going to need to see a group picture. It's the most shallow thing in the world and obviously very intimidating.
Oh
And all of the
God.
girls, like they're not a baddie group. When I say that, I don't mean that they're ugly. I mean that they're not online. Like they don't know how to be baddies. Not that I know how to be a baddie, but the girls were so funny. They're like, oh my God, should I put on fake lashes? Should I curl my hair for this group pic? Anyways, it ended up being fine the first night. But the second night we go to excess, we're all donned in our college gear looking so fucking stupid. And the guy looks at us and he goes, you guys can try the back door.
Oh my God, stop.
And
That's so mean.
my friend Emily, like it was kind of like he was saying back doors in like a swim door at Excess nightclub, but me and all the girls were literally in tears. Like you could try Sears. And
Yeah. The
Emily,
back
the bride,
building.
yes, yes. And Emily, the bride goes, I could feel him like his eyes were piercing through my feathered earrings, and I knew, fuck, I shouldn't have worn these earrings. Like this is so
Oh my God,
embarrassing.
stop. Okay, well, from the content that I saw, you guys all looked amazing. I loved it.
Yes. So one of the nights me and my friend hired a photographer. And so that's when we all looked like really good. But we were all like clenching through our teeth saying this was not the night for us to go to Excess Nightclub, which is one of the biggest clubs in Vegas where Chainsmokers was playing. This was not the night to do college night, to be very fucking clear. Like we were crying, laughing, and my friend Sarah, she's been to Vegas so many times and she was the one that was interacting with promoters. She was like literally going back and forth, like literally putting like the entire bachelorette party was put on her back. And she got us in, but it was so funny. We were just laughing at, she felt like Kris Jenner. And it just was so humiliating. And I just have to call it out. If you go to Vegas, be ready to take a group pic for the
That
promoters because
is
they will ask.
that is so sad and unfortunate. I will say that theme nights for a bachelorette party are fun, but I think if you're going to like an exclusive type of like Vegas club, maybe like pause on the theme, you know?
It, yeah, we all went. I feel we committed far too much to the bit. Like this
Yeah,
is
but you
too.
looked great. I loved it. The bandage dresses, like I love
Okay, Sophie, I
okay.
want to hear all about our next topic at hand
Yes.
because this was your idea actually to go over Mr. Justin Timberlake. And I
Yeah.
feel that with all of this Kevin Federline book stuff coming out
Mhm.
and his discussion with Brittany, we found out that the night before Kevin and Brittany got married, Brittany was on the phone with Justin Timberlake.
Yep.
Whether or not that's actually true or not, we can't really believe a word that comes out of K-Fed's mouth. But I'm
Yes.
very excited for you to walk us through this outline today because JT is someone that had quite the fall from grace over the last couple of years.
Yeah, he really has. And I think that he, first of all, is a burgeoning enemy of the pod. Just really doing this research, you remember why he fucking sucks so much and why he fell off so hard and why he deserved to fall off so hard. Because at one point he really was the it boy. Like he was an original triple threat. He hosted SNL 5 times, so he's a good actor.
Yes.
He was good at comedy. He sing, dance, like everything. He was good at everything. And he's still, I mean, you could argue that he is, but like not really. Like he's obviously way past his heyday. But he's the worst. So I'm excited to dive in. I guess let's just get right into it.
Yeah,
So
let's do it.
JT was born Justin Randall Timberlake in Memphis, Tennessee on January 31st, 1981. He is 44. And yeah, as you guys probably know, he is one of the best-selling artists of all time. I feel like maybe some of the Gen Z listeners, and it's funny also because when he got arrested for a DUI last year, the officer was so young and clearly Gen Z didn't know who he was. So it's like if you are Gen Z and listening and you like are like, who's Justin Timberlake? I feel like that's probably unlikely because you listen to this podcast, so you're probably very familiar with all of these, stalwarts of pop culture. But it's possible that if you're young enough, you didn't grow up with him like we did. Like we literally grew up on Justin Timberlake's music.
Who would you say is the equivalent of Justin Timberlake's fame back in 2003, for instance? Would you say it's maybe
Oh,
Harry Styles?
I was gonna say Harry Styles. Like he was like
Yeah.
the it boy of his boy band. He was the breakout star. He was the face of NSYNC in a way that the rest of them weren't. Like Joey Fatone wasn't. No offense.
Apologies to Joey Fatone, but yeah, I feel like
Yeah,
JC had the voice and Justin had
yeah.
the pop star aura about him.
Yeah, he really did. So in terms of his background and rise to fame, JT, like we said, is from Memphis and he grew up singing in church. His dad was actually the choir director of his church. His parents divorced when he was young in kindergarten. And in 1992, he was the runner up on Star Search when he was 11 years old. TBT to Star Search. Like that was the original American Idol. And it was kind of like before our time as millennials. I feel like elder millennials probably remember watching Star Search live, but it was kind of like before our time.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't think I've ever seen an episode.
he went by Justin Randall at the time. And it's funny because I feel like Justin Timberlake, and maybe it's hindsight bias. I feel like Justin Timberlake is hands down a better stage name, even though it's his real name, a better name than Justin Randall.
Yeah, because Timberlake it has kind of like a beat to it. Timberlake, like I don't
Yeah,
know.
it has like some aura to it. I'll give him that.
It
I'll give
does.
him that much. So, starting in 1993, he starred on the Mickey Mouse Club at 12 years old. And, he told the Hollywood Reporter back in 2017 that he can't really remember not being famous because he started out so young. And he was on the Mickey Mouse Club alongside Britney, Christina Aguilera, JC Chazé, his future bandmate, and then also Ryan Gosling. And did you know actually that Justin and Ryan lived together at one point, and also Justin's mom was Ryan Gosling's legal guardian for a time because Ryan's mom had to go back to Canada. So they were really, really, really close when they were younger.
I think I do know that they were close from Jessica Simpson's book. She talked about how she kissed, I forgot if it were Ryan or Justin, but when she kissed one of the guys, the first thing he said was, I have to call so and so because we had a bet during the Mickey Mouse Club who could kiss you first because we thought you were so pretty.
Oh God. And that's very on brand, I feel like,
Yes.
unfortunately. And yeah, so from a young age, he was a very, very, very talented performer. Like I said, he was an original triple threat. He could act, he could sing, he could dance, he could engage a live crowd. Like he just was good at what he did. And Mickey Mouse Club eventually got canceled and he went back to school for a year and he was a bit of a troublemaker. And then in 1995, NSYNC was formed. So Justin and JC, since they went all the way back, were already writing songs together and working together. Chris Kirkpatrick at that point asked them to form a pop group. The three of them moved to Orlando. They ran into an old acquaintance, Joey Fatone, and they brought in someone named Jason Galasso before deciding he wasn't the right fit. And Jason was eventually replaced with Lance Bass, who they recruited from Mississippi thanks to a connection with Justin's vocal coach. Imagine being Jason Galasso, first of all.
Oh my God. That's like when I was watching this TikTok where someone said that an entrepreneur from Stanford, their fellow student approached them and said, "Do you want to invest in a company?" And they turned it down only for that company to turn into Tecovas or like turn into these big brands. It's like, damn it. I should have just invested early.
I know. So Justin was really young when the group was formed. He was only 14, which is crazy to think about, but was 17 when their first album was released in 1998. And the self-titled album, it's funny to think about. It was a disappointing debut, which is crazy. But, it was kind of a slow burn. They performed on a Disney Channel concert that year, and it started to gain traction after that. And like we said, Justin was kind of the Harry Styles of the group. He was the breakout star, and he was the face.
Why do you
And
think that is, by the way? Because all of the guys were conventionally attractive. I would say, do you think it's because Justin had like that blonde hair, blue-eyed look? I don't even know if he has blue eyes, but you know what I mean. That all-American look?
not to be mean, but I feel like calling them all conventionally attractive at the time might be like yeah, they were, but I think that Justin was the dreamboat along with JC. I would say JC and
Yeah.
Justin were both the hottest, and he was kind of just like the front man. Like he just was always in the center at the front. I think it was kind of orchestrated that way. Maybe they recognized that he had the chops, he had the look to be kind of the face of the group. I feel like for the most part, every band has that. Like, think of the Pussycat Dolls and like Nicole Scherzinger. Like,
Yeah. I think as I'm thinking, because I think Nicole Scherzinger, wasn't she kind of the main singer though?
yeah, that's true.
But what I will say is with Backstreet Boys, Nick was kind of the heartthrob of the group.
Yeah, exactly. Nick Carter was like the face.
Right. I feel like it has something to do with the blonde hair because back then
Yeah.
in the 90s, I feel like blonde was meant you were the most famous one.
Blonde was it. But yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's actually a really interesting conspiracy theory. Let us know, you guys. Why do you think they foisted Justin to the front of the group? So in 1998, the iconic power couple, Justin and Brittany, began. Rumors started circulating that they were romantically linked. They finally made an appearance as a couple in 2000 at the MTV Video Music Awards. And in 2000, NSYNC's sophomore album, No Strings Attached, shot to number one upon its release on April 8th. I loved this album.
When they were puppeteers being
Oh my God,
orchestrated
I
by that woman.
loved it. I loved it. So at that point, they actually had left their management company and sued them. And they were without a major record label when they released this album, which was crazy, but it was so successful. It was so good. I loved this album. It held the
I
record for
think
the
I saw
largest
them in
sales week.
concert during this album.
Oh, really? Was that like your
Yeah.
first concert?
Britney Spears was my first concert. I'd also seen Backstreet Boys when I was in elementary school, and this was, I think, my third concert. But I remember it was a smashing success. I went with all of my little friends from elementary school. It was core memory.
Love that. My first concert was Spice Girls.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
that's
I
even
went
like
with
pre-Britney.
yeah, I went with my mom and my sister. I remember I was probably like 5 years old, honestly, but again, core memory. Um, so this album held the record for the largest sales week for any album until Adele's 25 was released in 2015. And it's kind of underrated, by the way, how much of a commercial and critical success Adele is, by the way. Like, I know it's not like underrated, but we don't talk enough about how she holds these records. Like,
'Cause
Adele is so insane.
and I also think it's because she has such a good voice. People just say, "Oh, Adele with a good voice." It's like, no, Adele with a good voice and all the accolades to
Yeah.
match.
Commercial success, critical success.
Yes.
Like, she is just like an underrated. And everyone listening to this is like, Adele is not underrated. I'm like, well, we talk about like Taylor Swift. We don't talk about Adele breaking these records too. I
You
feel
guys
like
know
as
what we
much.
mean when we say that.
You know what we
Like,
mean. Please,
yeah.
please be nice to us. Okay,
Yeah.
so in 2001, NSYNC performed with Britney and Aerosmith for the 2001 Super Bowl halftime show. And they performed their hit single "Bye Bye Bye." They also included special guests Mary J. Blige and Nelly. And to this, I say, we used to be a proper country.
I
I'm
mean,
sorry, when was the last time we had like an iconic Super Bowl halftime show? I'm having trouble thinking of one, honestly.
the amalgamation of so many different types of artists. You have R&B, you have pop, you have rock, you have
Yeah.
everything for everyone. And I just also have a core memory of I used to perform in the talent show in elementary school and do like a dance with all of my little friends. And we did a dance to ba ba ba, like
Mhm.
so good. That song was so catchy, still is.
Yeah, still is. Iconic. So let's get into his solo career because around 2002, 2003, NSYNC goes on hiatus. This is when Justin launches his solo career with Justified. And it's funny because I feel like he, and understandably so, at the time he was, like we said, the it boy, the face. He thought he was like too good for NSYNC. And this continued for decades of him thinking, I don't need NSYNC. Like, I am the star. Until I feel like recently, where it's like, no, you kind of do need NSYNC to be relevant again.
Well, especially now with Backstreet Boys at the Sphere in
Yeah.
Vegas, the residency is
Yep.
popping off and it's bringing so many millennial fans into Vegas to see them. And Backstreet Boys are making so much money. And I feel like NSYNC is like out here saying, Justin, are you going to come hang out with us now? Because look at
Yeah.
Backstreet Boys making oodles and oodles of cash. He's so proud. I don't think Justin Timberlake will
Yeah.
ever reunite with NSYNC because to this day, even with the success of Backstreet Boys 20 years later,
Yeah.
he's still too proud.
No, exactly. And millennial nostalgia is probably the only thing keeping Justin Timberlake somewhat relevant today. And even calling him somewhat relevant might be like even a stretch, but like it's the millennial nostalgia. Like even his most recent tours, um, apparently it was a lot of in sync loving millennials that went and saw him, which is understandable. So his solo career is launched right after a split from Britney was announced. In 2002, he also briefly dates Jenna Dewan.
Juwan.
Why can I not say her name? Jenna Dewan, Channing Tatum's ex-wife, after his breakup with Britney. She had actually been a backup dancer for him. I don't remember that happening, but I do remember when he dated Alyssa Milano briefly in 2002.
From Charmed.
Yeah. So his solo album was a little bit more R&B. It was less pop, more R&B. The Cry Me a River music video. We all remember where we were. It featured a Britney lookalike and a cheating storyline, which obviously fueled a ton of gossip around their breakup. And in the music video, he's like spying on his girlfriend and then breaks into her house and films himself hooking up with another woman on her bed.
Oh my god, this music video is ingrained in my memory, that da-na-na-na-nan, da-na-na, and then the
Yeah.
rain. That video was one of the most creative, cool, sexy videos, but also, um, against Britney Spears so,
Yeah.
strongly. And I really quickly, when we talk about Justified, I will be remiss to not bring up the fact that Justin Timberlake and Christina Aguilera went on tour together called Stripped Justified Tour. Such a slap in the face if you're Britney Spears, because at the time Britney and Christina were beefing, whether or not it was
Yeah,
legitimate beef or it
rivals.
was
They
the
were
press.
rivals.
They were rivals. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
that was a very real thing back then. And the fact that he went on tour with Christina did not
Yes.
help either of Christina or Justin's cases.
Yes, that's a great shout out. There were a lot of things that Justin did over the years that were purely done out of spite to spite Britney. And it's just, nefarious. But from Britney's side, she told Rolling Stone in 2011 about Cry Me a River. He called her up and was like, by the way, like I did a music video and it's kind of about you. And it's kind of obvious that it's about you. Don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. And apparently she had the power to say no to the video, but instead she was like, "Hey, it's your video, like whatever." I hadn't seen it and then it came out and she was like, "I should have freaking said no to this shit," because she got a lot of hate. But she says, like it was a smart move on his end because he capitalized on shitting on Britney Spears and people loved to shit on Britney Spears at the time.
She was such a good sport too, for her to say, well, he's smart for doing it.
Yeah. No, yeah,
She
exactly.
always gets punched, dude, and, like,
Yeah,
people are never fair to her, it's so sad. Even
I
back then,
know.
she's, like, so gracious about this.
I know. It sucks. Um So Justin, like we said, would go on to host SNL. He's the first time he hosted was in October 2003, and he would go on to host 5 times. And like I said, he used to be like a superstar. Like people loved when he hosted SNL. He was really funny, he was good, like he was really talented at acting. And some of his SNL skits to this day continue to be iconic and really famous. And also the 5-time host club is very small and exclusive. Like it's a big deal to be invited back that many times. So
He Sorry to interrupt, I was just gonna
no, no,
say
no.
his acting career is highly underrated, kind of like what you said on top. Just a quick shout out to he has a movie called Palmer. It's an Apple TV movie, and I think I've talked about this before on the podcast. It genuinely is one of my favorite movies. And I know like I have bad taste in movies, but I'm telling you, it's about a man who just got out of prison and he basically takes in this young boy who lives in a very abusive household and basically cares for him. It's like so heartwarming, and Justin Timberlake is like fantastic in it. He needs to
I
explore his
actually
acting endeavors a little bit more, I think.
I think he does because he also was in a Netflix movie called Reptile, which I also really liked. And that came out in 2023. So,
Yes, I've seen that too.
like, yeah, I liked that movie a lot. That was a good movie if you haven't seen Reptile on Netflix. And he was good in it. Like, I think that, maybe the music career is stuck in the mud, but I think there's some, maybe potential
Yeah.
there when it acting. In 2003, he starts dating Cameron Diaz after meeting at the 2003 Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards, and they dated for 4 years. I don't know how I forgot about that. They were a power couple also at the time.
Well, also the age difference was, I think, pretty significant. And maybe at the time, I don't really know how far in age they really are, but I remember this being a huge deal, and they were very serious.
Yeah, they were very serious. In 2004, the infamous Nipplegate Super Bowl halftime show with Janet Jackson happened, which we will get to shortly. His second album, Future Sex Love Sounds, is released in 2006. Who could forget Sexy Back?
I mean, iconic.
I'm sorry, it was iconic. It was iconic. And this is also when he hosts SNL again and one of those iconic SNL sketches, Dick in a Box. Do you remember that?
Of course. And also this year he starred in the film Alpha Dog, also one of my favorite movies. I'm telling you, he's in Oscar-worthy films. Okay.
I have not seen that one. I
Wait,
don't again,
what?
I don't really trust your taste.
No, Sophie, I am being so for real. Alpha Dog is based on a true story. It's based on true events. It's so, so good. You know the guy from The Girl Next Door? Um, Remember that one
Oh,
kind of like
oh, Emily Hirsch, Emil
Amelia
Hirsch.
Hirsch, Emil
Yeah.
Hirsch.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes, he's in it. Oh my God, it's Sophie. It's so good.
Okay,
Please
I'm
watch
reading
it.
about this. I feel like I might need to wow. I might need oh, this is really interesting. I might need to watch it. Maybe I do trust your taste in
No, I'm
movies.
telling you, Alpha Dog and Palmer, two of my favorite films. Add it to the list.
Okay, added to the list.
Along with It Ends with Us.
Oh, stop it. Stop it right now. Okay, so By the way, speaking of Colleen Hoover, I feel like there's a new Colleen Hoover movie released or like a red carpet every single week now. Like, I'm sorry.
That's
There's
so
like
true.
her AI generated books. It's like every week there's that one with Allison Williams and Dave Franco. And then there was like
Yeah.
another one. There's the one with Anne Hathaway that's being filmed. There was one other one where they just had like a red carpet or event. I'm like, oh my God.
Wait, I'm dying. Her AI generated books.
God, I'm so sick of it. Okay, sorry. Anyway, in 2010, he plays Sean Parker in The Social Network, one of my favorite movies. Like, I love that movie. Remember when he says, drop the, it's cleaner.
Add it to the list.
And don't sleep on Dakota Johnson's scene in this. His first scene in that movie is when he is hooking up with Dakota Johnson. And that was like one of her first film roles. And in October 2012, he marries Jessica Biel in Italy.
Do you remember their People magazine photo shoot when they got married?
No, I don't
Oh my
remember
God.
that
So she was
actually. I
wearing
need to
this
look it
pink
up.
wedding. She was wearing this pink wedding dress, and
Oh, yeah.
literally he's jumping up in the photos, like stealing her the spotlight, and everyone
Oh,
just like
God.
today is like, Jesus, he is so thirsty. You can't
He
even
would.
let your wife have her moment of like, regaling everyone with her dress and her look. He had to jump into the photo.
God. I know that's so typical of him. He's so annoying. So in 2013, his third album, The 2020 Experience, was released, and Suit and Tie was a big hit. I don't know why Suit and Tie, whenever I hear that, it reminds me of Luke Gunvalson from Summer House. Suit and tie, hair slicked back, drives me
Wait, what?
wild. Remember
That's
how Luke
so
Gunvalson
random.
would like play guitar and like sing?
Wait, that's so fucking random, dude.
But obviously that was a different song than As Long as I Got My Suit and Tie. So in 2015, he becomes a dad for the first time. He has his first son, Silas, with Jessica Biel. He also made the song Can't Stop the Feeling in 2016 for the Trolls movie soundtrack. It debuted at #1 on the Hot 100.
I
That
mean,
might be like, I'm sorry, that might be the worst song of all time.
it's such a corporate, like all hands meeting song.
It's like Happy by Pharrell, you know?
Yes. Same. It almost should be
Same
they're
energy.
identical songs.
Yeah, honestly. It somehow got an Oscar nomination for Best Original Song, though. So there's that. And he also voiced one of the trolls in the movie. In 2018, he releases the Man of the Woods album, and it gets mixed reviews due to mixing genres in a way that isn't quite successful. It's like R&B, pop, Americana. He's tapped to headline the Super Bowl halftime show that year. But yeah, the album did not get good reviews. It was called Lifeless and kind of was also a commercial flop too. Fun fact, my coworker at the time, shout out to Whitney, bought tickets for the Man of the Woods tour before the album came out, and it was like just so funny because literally everyone
Wait,
hated that album, and she was like, "Why did I do that?"
that's so fucking funny.
It was
I love that
so
you guys were
funny.
all trolling her at the
Oh
office.
yeah, we were all trolling her at the office. It was like the funniest thing ever.
It's so
Um
funny.
So in 2019, paparazzi pictures caught him holding hands with actress Alicia Wainwright, I think is her name. Hold on, let
Yes.
me just double check.
Alicia, yes, it is. Alicia Wainwright.
Alicia Wainwright, his co-star in the movie, speaking of the movie Palmer. And
I'm telling you, this movie is iconic for many more than one ways.
yeah, they were holding hands, smiling and laughing. But witnesses also said that he was kind of wobbly and unsteady, and looked to be like clearly inebriated. Not that that's like an excuse at all. Uh, but yeah, the photos went viral, obviously, and it kind of got, like, for the most part, brushed off, but he did make a public apology on Instagram to his wife and family and said, "I apologize to my amazing wife and family for putting them through such an embarrassing situation. I'm focused on being the best husband and father I can be." He said it was a strong lapse in judgment and that nothing happened beyond drunkenly inappropriate behavior. He added he drank far too much and should have known better. So,
Can we talk about this?
yeah.
Because I remember when this came out and it was such a scandal because to my knowledge and from my recollection, there wasn't ever a cheating scandal having anything to do with Justin or Jessica. For all intents and purposes, they were in a very happy marriage. And I remember when this video came out, and it was a pretty clear video. They were up on that balcony in New Orleans and they were
Yeah.
canoodling like crazy. And I remember just being so shocked. But I guess, and I'm not a blind item girl, but do you recall? I think there were blind items about him always cheating on Jessica, and they were kind of in this open relationship, which I honestly think a lot of celebrity couples really are. They just don't make it public. It's more of this rule of don't embarrass me, and Justin clearly embarrassed the fuck out of Jessica by doing this so publicly with his co-star, no less. But what are your thoughts on them perhaps having an open marriage? Do you think there's any like weight to that?
I hadn't seen those blind items, but I mean, that wouldn't surprise me. Again, I feel like that's probably typical for a lot of these Hollywood marriages. First of all, like, they are often long distance, and like someone will be on set, someone will be home with the kids, and then vice versa. And it makes sense in a lot of ways. Not that, like, I don't know if I would be able to do it if that were my life, but I think it makes sense for a lot of these couples. And there's a reason why so many Hollywood couples are rumored to have open marriages. But again, there's always that rule of don't embarrass me. And as soon as that person embarrasses their spouse, then it becomes bad news if it becomes public.
And I haven't looked recently, but I remember when I tried to find a video of this canoodling scandal in New Orleans of the two of them, it was very hard to find on the internet.
Wow. See, I think he does have a very I don't know, a very expensive PR team. I think that he's needed one in recent years, and we will get to why because he has had quite the list of controversies over the years. But in 2020, his other son Phineas is born, and in 2021, he begins to get a lot of criticism after the release of two documentaries, Framing Britney Spears and Malfunction: The Dressing Down of Janet Jackson. And he was the villain in both of these stories. He was. And again, we will get to both of these controversies more in detail. This is just kind of like a little timeline rundown. But this was kind of, I think, like, he was already falling off at this point by 2021, but public sentiment for him plummeted at this point. Especially after also Britney's memoir, The Woman in Me, released in 2023. His reputation continued to plummet. In 2024, his sixth album, Everything I Thought It Was, released, and he launched the Forget Tomorrow World Tour. This is going to ruin the tour. He's also arrested for a DUI in the Hamptons that year. And yeah, basically where we're at today is public sentiment is not great for him. So let's back up and talk about some of these controversies and scandals a little bit more in detail. So obviously the Britney relationship. It is like such a stark contrast how differently the press treated Britney versus Justin. He was America's golden boy and he was heartbroken by Britney the slut, you know? So Wesley Morris, a New York Times critic, mentioned that the way people treated her versus him, it was very high school. Like, she was the school slut and he was the high school quarterback. And Brittany wrote about this in her memoir. She wrote, "In the media, I was described as a harlot who'd broken the heart of America's golden boy. And there's always more leeway in Hollywood for men than for women, which is so true. And I see how men are encouraged to talk trash about women in order to become famous and powerful, but I was shattered." During a 2003 interview with Barbara Walters, Justin was asked if Britney had, quote unquote, kept her promise to wait until marriage to have sex. Instead of defending Brittany, Justin famously just laughed in response, raising public suspicion about her virginity. Once again, our society was/is obsessed with young women's virginities and never men's. So
It's
gross.
yeah, it's so misogynistic and disgusting.
It's disgusting. She actually revealed in her book that she did not lose her V card to Justin, but they were, sexually active together. And then again, when this documentary came out, people were reminded, and in the midst of her conservatorship battle, people were reminded again about how awful he was. And, with the release of her book, also, the narrative essentially flipped. And even though we were all on I was never team Justin Timberlake. For the record, I've always been a diehard Britney stan. If you don't believe me, I will post the picture of me with her star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in, must have been 2007. My first time going to
Wow.
LA.
Tinseltown.
Tinseltown, baby. And we are now on Britney's side, obviously. But this is actually something that was revealed in her memoir that wasn't public knowledge before. She got pregnant at 19 by Justin, and he was so sure that he didn't want to be a father that he pressured her into an abortion.
Yeah.
And so they were having sex despite their public image of abstinence. And she says she would have never chosen to have an abortion, but felt like she had no choice. And they had to do the abortion at home.
Yeah, and she describes it vividly in her book where he's strumming the guitar while she's in so much pain. Oh, just it's heartbreaking.
Diabolical. Yeah, she writes in the book, yeah, we also decided on something that in retrospect wound up being, in my view, wrong. And that was that I should not go to a doctor or hospital to have the abortion because they were worried that people would obviously see her, spot her. It was important that no one find out about the pregnancy or the abortion, which meant doing everything at home. She took the little pills. I went into the bathroom and stayed there for hours, lying on the floor, sobbing and screaming. She described unbelievable pain. I went down to the ground on my knees holding the toilet.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Oh wait, sorry. Yeah, and so she said that he was strumming the guitar. He came into the bathroom and lay on the floor, and he thought maybe music would help. So he got his little guitar and he lay there with me strumming it. And they never took her to the hospital, even though she was in, just this massive amount of pain.
Yeah.
This event left her messed up for a while, especially because I still did love Justin so much. It was insane how much I loved him. And for me, it was unfortunate. And yeah, she says, like she loved him. Like she really, really, really loved him. As much as Justin hurt me, there was a huge foundation of love. And when he left me, I was devastated. I could barely speak for months. Whenever anyone asked me about him, all I could do was cry. I don't know if I was clinically in shock, but it felt that way.
I
So
genuinely feel like this breakup between Justin and Brittany was so devastating to her. And especially
yeah,
because they were platformed as the it couple, the
yeah.
golden couple. I genuinely feel like her decision to be with someone like a loser like Kevin Federline, who continues to be a fucking loser to this day, was in response to just the heartbreak she felt from her first love. That was Justin. My heart breaks for her because I feel like she never fully got over him.
Yeah, and then it's just juxtaposed with how it was positioned in the press was that Brittany broke his heart and
Yes.
she mistreated him when in reality she loved him and she was completely shattered and heartbroken over their breakup. Um she does admit that she kissed choreographer Wade Robson when she was with Justin, but told Justin about it and they moved past it at the time. But Justin cheated on her.
Yes.
uh yeah, and he said in a 2006 GQ interview that when we initially parted ways, I felt like she had a couple opportunities to stick up for me and she didn't, which is fine. But at the time, I fought back. And he fought back by using his mind to come up with a song, Cry Me a River. Like, again, he would do so many interviews just villainizing her and completely leaving out so much context and just making it so black and white. Like she's the harlot. I am the heartbroken golden boy.
In her book, Brittany says how guilty she felt when she kissed Wade Robson, the
Yeah.
choreographer,
Yeah.
and she's like, "But assure you, it was nothing but a kiss." All the while, Justin Timberlake had been cheating on her. So it sucks because I don't think we didn't talk about that in whenever they broke up. It was always that Brittany cheated
Yeah.
on Justin with Wade. That was always the public consensus.
Yep, exactly, even though he cheated also. And
Right.
he said in this 2006 interview, I dated Brittany half my life, but I don't know that person anymore. I'm not sure I knew her before. If I was writing an article about her, I would not be able to fight the urge to write every dirty thing about her. Like he just never missed an opportunity to slander her and talk shit about her. And yeah, but again, after their breakup, Brittany wrote about how she was basically comatose in Louisiana and he was happily running around Hollywood, doing all of this press and doing all these interviews about her. And yeah, so she was like this explosive album and all the press that surrounded it and Cry Me a River. Justin neglected to mention the several times that he cheated on me. So actually, in January 2024, in a bizarre twist, Brittany posted an apology to Justin on Instagram for what she said in her book, even though it was quickly deleted. And, she wrote, I want to apologize for some of the things I wrote about in my book. If I offended any of the people I genuinely care about, I am deeply sorry. I also wanted to say I'm in love with his new song, Selfish. It's so good. And this post was obviously unexpectedly positive towards Justin. It triggered a conspiracy theory that Brittany didn't write it herself or that Justin's team paid/coerced her into publicly supporting him, which is an interesting conspiracy theory. um, okay, so a day or two after this, also in 2024, he's doing a show at the Irving Plaza in NYC. And he famously says, I'd like to take this opportunity to apologize to absolutely fucking nobody right before playing Cry Me a River. So
This was
again,
insane. I
he
remember
can't
when
help
this
himself.
happened.
He can't help himself.
After Brittany poured her heart out in her book. Did you read The Woman in Me, by the way?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, it's like she was so vulnerable and talked about how much she loved him. And the best thing he can say is, "I will apologize to fucking nobody." Get a
Yeah,
life. Like you have not grown up one iota. And you know how people say that
exactly.
how stars they stop maturing at
Yep.
the age that they got famous. This is very clear to me that Justin Timberlake is living in his 14-year-old freaking body. Mind, rather.
Yes, I knew you were going to say that. Yeah, he like stopped maturing at age like 12. Uh So after this, Brittany went back to being her normal self and roasting him again on Instagram. She said, someone told me someone was talking shit about me on the streets. Do you want me to bring it to the court or will you go home crying to your mom like you did last time? I'm not sorry. Oh, Brittany. I love her. But yeah, so Kevin Federline has also recently come out to claim, like you said, that Brittany called Justin the night before their wedding in 2004. And yeah, it seems like she was, despite, the accusations that she was again this harlot that broke her heart. Broke his heart. She was the one that was really, really, really heartbroken after the breakup for a long time. Okay, so let's move on to Nipplegate. Oh my God. So, February 4th, 2004, the Super Bowl halftime show, Justin is performing with Janet Jackson. And there is a part of the performance where he rips part of her costume that was covering her right breast. And it's during the lyric, gonna have you naked by the end of this song, you know?
Yep.
And he rips it off, and her nipple is like covered. It has like a pasty or like something on it, but it was displayed to the audience, and they both said it was a wardrobe malfunction, and it was supposed to reveal a red lace bra and not, the nipple pasty or whatever. I'm sorry, controversial opinion. I didn't understand what the big deal with this was. Her nipple was not exposed. It was like a pasty.
Wait, I too never have understood this because was are Justin and Janet saying that, oh, it was a wardrobe malfunction and he ripped off too much, or was the
Yes.
intent always for the pasty to be shown?
No, so their explanation was that it was malfunction. It was not supposed to just reveal her boob with the pasty on it. It was supposed to reveal another part of her costume.
Yeah.
Um, I really feel like this was overblown. Again, this was 2004, so it was a different time, but I feel like it was so overblown. I never understood. I mean, I was 12 at the time, but like at 12 years old, I was like, "What's the big deal?" You know, free the
Yeah,
nipple.
but this deeply, deeply impacted her career in a way that she was never able
Yes,
to return to. Even though they were
exactly.
both a part of this, and Justin Timberlake was more famous than ever at this time and continued to get more and more famous after 2004.
Exactly. So that's the problem. So the FCC fined CBS $550,000 for this, and it was a massive, massive deal. Like, you can't even overstate how big of a deal this was. And like you said, Janet Jackson's career never recovered from this. She was basically blacklisted from the industry. Radios wouldn't play her songs. Her album sales were really low. And she stopped being invited to award shows. Lots of her projects were canceled. Um, yeah, she lost a ton of career opportunities. She actually had a biopic in the works, which was also canceled. So she lost tons of opportunities. Meanwhile, Justin continued to thrive and do the Super Bowl halftime show again after this. And he ended up issuing a scripted apology at the time, but was still invited to perform at the Grammys. And whereas Janet Jackson, her invite was rescinded altogether, and he won Grammy awards after this. And yeah, he would joke about the wardrobe malfunction in interviews later, and it was a joke to him. So he finally did publicly apologize 17 years later in a 2021 Instagram statement. And the apology was for both Justin and Janet.
You
And
mean for both Janet and Britney?
Janet and Brittany, sorry.
Yeah.
And, he says, I've seen the messages, tags, comments, and concerns, and I want to respond. I'm deeply sorry for the times in my life where my actions contributed to the problem, where I spoke out of turn or did not speak up for what was right. And he named both. He said, I specifically want to apologize to Britney Spears and Janet Jackson, both individually, because I care for and respect these women, and I know I failed. And I understand that I fell short in these moments and in many others and benefited from a system that condones misogyny and racism. So he kind of did like a 2-for-1 apology at the time. Um, but I mean,
This was so clearly written by a PR
oh yeah.
firm, by the way. It's so beautifully written. The industry is flawed. It sets men, especially white men, up for success.
Yeah.
It's designed this way. As a man in a privileged position, I have to be vocal about this. Goes on and on. Like, yeah, it's worded perfectly, but it was not him.
And he only apologizes at the time because he is getting so much shit from both of those documentaries getting released and public sentiment changing towards him. Whereas he went on for 17 years. And in Britney's case, like 20 years, benefiting from the media just destroying these women. And then all of a sudden he's like, "Hey, I'm sorry, by the way." It's just like, it's not enough. So in spring 2024, he gets his DUI where he infamously says, this is going to ruin the tour. What tour? The world tour. And he is in the Hamptons, and he had apparently just come from the posh American hotel in Sag Harbor. And again, like I said, the Gen Z officer who pulled him over famously didn't know who he was. And he didn't recognize him, didn't recognize his name. Um, it's so funny. Like, it became like just this obviously this massive meme of him saying, "This is going to ruin the tour." What tour? The world tour. He
Not the
just
cop naming him as having a small build
small build.
at
It's
170
so
pounds
funny.
and 6'1". That's what the cop said, not what Sophie and I are saying.
It's so funny. It's literally like the funniest scenario. He claimed that he only had one martini before getting behind the wheel, but apparently he had bloodshot, glassy eyes, and he refused to take a breathalyzer 3 times. And there was like a strong odor of alcohol coming from him. And he was unsteady and failed field sobriety test. Mm-mm. So he was charged with driving while intoxicated and cited for running a stop sign and weaving in the car. But he was still able to continue with the tour. And if anything, the DUI brought more attention to the tour and people had fun with it, with the memes. He later pleaded guilty to the charge of driving while impaired and was sentenced to a $500 fine, 25 hours of community service, and a mandatory public safety announcement about the dangers of impaired driving. And the original DUI charge was dropped as part of the plea deal. So he just had the lesser driving while ability impaired. And his license was suspended for 90 days.
Honestly,
So
to your point, this arrest made his tour more, I don't know, people were more tuned in. I really believe that had he not been arrested, the tour wouldn't have got as much publicity had he not been arrested.
yeah, and there actually is a conspiracy theory that the DUI was orchestrated in order to drum up attention and press for the tour, which like it's an interesting conspiracy theory, but I don't think he's smart enough for that. And I don't think that's worth it. Like he already has such a shitty reputation right now. Like
Yeah.
it just doesn't seem worth it to me, in my opinion. But speaking of the tour, so this was his first tour in years, and it kicked off in April 2024. And it was attended, honestly, like we said, by mostly women of the NSYNC era, nostalgic millennials. And early reviews of the tour were like pretty positive for the most part. And yeah, and then the DUI scandal broke and videos started to go viral. These videos are so funny of Justin barely moving slash singing. You can tell that he's a little bit like slow. Like he doesn't have, I mean, he's 44 years old. He doesn't have the same dance moves that he once had. But the worst part is these videos of him like not singing and just letting the audience sing for him. So, like, for example, this one viral TikTok where he goes, I got this feeling, and then puts the mic down. And then the rest of the audience just sings, and he just like stands up on the stage, like not doing anything. Like, what are you doing?
The concert goers literally paid however much money to hear themselves sing. Like it was atrocious. He
Yeah.
got ripped apart on social media, reasonable, like understandably so, because he literally was not performing at all. He was just running, not even running, briskly walking up and down the stage. It was such a
Briskly
joke.
walking.
It was
He
such a
was just like
joke.
briskly walking. And then he was like, his like dance moves were so I just got like caught up in my wires, like my headphones and my mic. But he just like he's just like
No, it was just,
it's
it was a
so
mess.
funny. It was a mess. It was a mess. And then there was an awkward, speaking of wardrobe malfunctions, at his Nashville show where he was strapped into this harness and then like you could see like the outline of his pee and it was really funny. So it was basically just like a humiliation ritual this entire tour.
So after that Nashville TikTok went viral of him on that harness with his see-through pants,
Yeah.
the next concert, he had a shirt that covered his, like, groin
Yeah.
area.
Yeah. He sees
So
the
embarrassing,
TikToks.
dude.
He sees your
It's
TikToks. I know
he
it's so
does.
embarrassing. It literally, this entire tour was a humiliation ritual. I swear to God. So as the tour continued, actually, a lot of the tour dates were canceled. And he claimed, health issues like bronchitis, laryngitis. And he canceled the last show of the US leg of the tour in Ohio due to the flu. And some of these rough clips of the shows were going viral. And then at that point, he revealed that he had Lyme disease, which a lot of celebrities have these days for some reason. But yeah,
Bella, Justin
Gigi.
Bieber, Justin Timberlake.
Yeah. So this was after his tour wrapped in Turkey in July. He announced this diagnosis. So wishing him the best with his health. But one
People were
last
saying that that was kind of an interesting time to announce that he suffered with Lyme disease,
Mhm.
considering how poorly his onstage presence was received. Like, people were saying, "Huh, that's
Yes.
kinda interesting that you literally just shit the bed on your world tour the first time you ever came back publicly, and all of a sudden you conveniently have Lyme disease."
Yeah, exactly. And then also a lot of people speculated that the canceled tour dates weren't because he was sick, but because the ticket sales were so low. So, one last thing that we need to talk about is the accusations of cultural appropriation. So, Justin, like we said, when he went solo, he really leaned into the R&B hip hop lifestyle, which are traditionally Black music genres. So, he kind of like made this massive career off of, cultural appropriation is what a lot of people accuse him of. And I didn't know about his Prince feud until we did research for this episode. Had you heard of this?
No. Walk me through it.
So in 2006, Prince took a dig at Justin at a post Emmy Awards party, apparently saying to the crowd, "For whoever is claiming they brought sexy back, sexy never left." And then Justin in 2007 at the Golden Globes, he was presenting the award for for a song. And Prince wasn't at the ceremony, so Justin accepted the award on his behalf and ducked down to a low stance at the microphone to accept the award because Prince was famously 5'3", short stature. So it seems like he was dissing Prince's height. And then Justin apparently dissed Prince on the 2007 Timberland song "Give It to Me," and was making fun of, now if making fun of his mumble and saying, "Now if sexy never left, then why is everybody on my shit? Don't hate on me just because you didn't come up with it." So everyone interpreted this as him making fun of Prince. And Prince tragically passed away in 2016, but in 2018, Justin is tapped to do the Super Bowl in Minneapolis, which is Prince's hometown. And yeah, he gets to do the Super Bowl halftime show again. Just 12 years after Nipplegate, whereas Janet Jackson never recovered. And a lot of Prince fans were really mad about this because they were like, this is Prince's hometown. Prince and Justin famously beefed. Famously, I never knew about it, but apparently a lot of Prince fans, were very familiar with this beef and don't like Justin Timberlake because of it. And Justin performed the song "I Would Die for You" with a large projection of Prince in the city lit purple. And fans were already upset about the use of a hologram because Prince had strongly opposed using holograms. And yeah, people were not happy about it. And the tribute just was very awkward. And yeah, that's the Prince beef. But in Britney's book, which this was an amazing, amazing call out in her memoir, she made fun of the way that Justin would appropriate AAVE and say things like faux shiz, what's up, homie?
Yeah, actually that's kind of an interesting point to bring up because Justin Bieber as well, when he came up in like 2010, I feel like also kind of appropriated R&B, like Black culture a lot. I don't hear I again, we're not Black women, so I don't really know if they find it offensive or like what that I don't know what I'm trying to say. I guess do we see that happening today? I guess it was Justin Bieber was doing it as recently as 2010. Do we see that happening today with many
Yeah,
artists, with
that's
white
a good
artists?
That's a good question. I would be curious to hear what people think. I feel like it was definitely like that was a moment in the early 2000s where Justin was definitely visibly appropriating Black culture. In terms of Justin Bieber, I'm not as much of a believer as you are, so I don't like I do agree that there were moments in his career where he did, but I never picked up on it as much as when Justin Timberlake was doing it. But I don't know. Let us know, you guys, if there's an artist today that you think is still guilty of this. I don't know. I'm sure there are. I'm sure there
Yeah,
are. I think it's a
it's just
different
not coming to
time.
us at this
It's
moment.
well, it's also a different time where I think people are purposely more careful about it. And the early 2000s were, different, where Justin felt for whatever reason empowered to act like that. And yeah, and it was like the way that he spoke. I remember also, I mean, like I love Ariana Grande today, but there was a moment also where Ariana Grande
Yes.
was accused of appropriating Black culture and also the way that she
Yes.
would talk. And now she is a
Yes.
completely different person. So it's like this was just like a phase for you.
Wait,
Um
that's a great analogy. I think Ariana, when people
Yeah.
call her today, there was like Blackiana, and now she's a white woman with blonde hair with a high voice.
With a
But
high
before
voice, and now she is a
she would
serious
talk like
actress.
this.
Yeah, oh my god, she talked I've seen, like, side by side TikToks
Yes,
of how she used to speak and how she speaks today, and it's completely different. So and even we talk about, like, the King Kylie resurgence. So much of the King Kylie era was her appropriating Black culture. And so that's why also
absolutely.
it's not hitting the same because it's just that was a moment in time where she was appropriating, you know, cornrows and things that she should not have been appropriating. I don't know. It's just I don't know. There are probably a lot more people that we're not thinking of that are still guilty of that. So yeah, Justin was definitely a trailblazer when it comes to that. And
One
that's,
other thing
yeah.
that I wanted to just mention is in just kind of going back to the Britney and Justin feud, there was one VMA award that he was granted an award, but he wasn't there. So he dialed in
Mhm.
remotely and he came up on the screen and he was thanking the audience, thank you for your support, whatever. And then at the end, he goes, a word of advice, something to the effect of stop drinking. You look like a fool. You look so dumb. Quit it. And he was clearly talking to Britney Spears because she was clearly struggling with mental health. And people, when he came out with that, when he was arrested for his DWI, people were hearkening back to that video from the VMAs and saying, you are such a hypocrite. Like, how dare
Yeah.
you? She was clearly going through something serious mentally, and you're poking fun of it in such a public forum when you're receiving an award that has nothing to do with Britney Spears or your breakup. Get a life. He's always
Yeah.
been so just mean,
Every
honestly.
every when it comes to Britney, I feel like every accusation is a confession. Like the cheating, like problem with alcohol. It's like he's the one that was repeatedly cheating apparently, and also clearly, has a questionable relationship with alcohol based on
Correct.
DUI, the cheating scandal. Um yeah, like he just is such a freaking hypocrite when it comes to Britney. And I'm personally glad that this has continued to haunt him in a way. Like we said, I feel like his career has never fully recovered to what it once was. And he really was at one point like this superstar triple threat. I know I've said it so many times, but it's like he really was an original, like the term triple threat he could have been invented to describe him. Like he was the original. So it's like the fact that his career has floundered this hard. I think there are multiple reasons, including all of these controversies that we've talked about. Through the lens of 2025, we are thinking, wow, how did this guy get away with it for so long? You know? And then also he's just not producing like a good body of work. I mean, like we said, he's been in a few good movies. His music has mostly flopped. His tour flopped. Um, his dance moves are not what they once was. So the triple threat is kind of a zero at this point.
Yeah. He's kind of faded into oblivion, and I feel as if his career, although he was so important and such a trailblazer for music in the early 2000s, the
Yeah.
mask has slipped, and I think with this renaissance of women supporting other women, people just supporting women and recognizing mental health, I think we now see Justin for who he is, which is unfortunately, for those who have loved his music for so long, an incredibly problematic person who has been unable to take accountability and has
Yep.
always just shoved his own demons and like projected them onto the women he's dated or like Britney,
Yep.
really.
Yep.
And it's really unfortunate because I really like Jessica Biel. I think she's a really talented actress, and she was in this one series on Hulu called Candy. And interestingly enough, Elizabeth Olsen also did the same about the same
Yes.
murder
Oh
on
my God.
HBO Max.
Yes. I watched that.
Yes.
She was actually really good.
Jessica Biel.
Yeah, I mean, Elizabeth Olsen was better, but I mean, but also the Elizabeth Olsen one was on HBO, so it was like a little bit, I think, higher budget.
Correct. And Justin Timberlake was actually in Candy alongside his wife. But
Oh
it
my god,
sucks because I
I don't even
feel
remember he was.
he was a very small part. I think he played like the policeman, but he
Oh
wasn't
yeah,
nearly like as big as
yeah,
Jessica in that series. But I do like Jessica, and every time I see them posting about one another's birthdays, I'm always so curious what goes on behind the scenes because I wouldn't go so far as to say Justin's a narcissist or anything, but he clearly is interested, very self-interested,
Yeah.
and his behavior with Alicia Wainwright when they were filming Palmer in New Orleans, that's just probably a very small
Yep.
picture into what Jessica has to deal with so often. And just the fact that he said on stage so publicly, I apologize to absolutely fucking nobody, when Brittany is like pouring her heart out about all the struggles that she endured when she was, in 2007. And he has the audacity to say something as aggressive and mean and standoffish as that. Oh, he just is such a typical, like, and I try not to like throw this term around, but it's like white privileged male.
Yeah.
You've had everything handed to you. You were
Yep.
told since day one that you were the best of, you were the best in your group. You were the best artist of all time at one point.
Yep.
And I just don't think he's ever shaken that image of himself. He just thinks of himself in such a high regard that no one could
Yes.
shake it. No, not any scandal, not any of this. He to him is Justin Timberlake. That was 2007. Justin Timberlake. Still,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And yeah, he also stopped maturing at age 12, like we said.
yes.
So yeah, let us know, you guys. What are your feelings today on Justin Timberlake? Were you team NSYNC or team Backstreet Boys?
What were
Also,
you?
I was obsessed with NSYNC. Like I loved it. I love Justified. So yeah, it's been quite the fall from grace for him in my eyes. And yeah, even though, like I said, I was always team Britney, I really enjoyed his music for a period of time.
Justified is honestly one of it's a
It's a good
very,
album.
very good album. It is.
It's kind of like objectively a good album. But yeah, team Britney, always justice for Britney. And yeah, I think Justin Timberlake is he's getting his karma, I think. It took a while, but karma always comes back around, and that's why he is not really relevant anymore.
It took like
Also,
two and a
I'm
half
curious.
decades, but we're here.
Yeah, it did. It took 2 decades, but it always comes back around. But I'm curious, Benny Baby Snarks, if you guys went to his tour. If you bought tickets for the Man of the Woods tour before hearing the album, like my coworker did.
That is honestly one of the funniest things I've ever heard.
Oh my God. Okay, well, thank you guys so much for listening. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at SnarkRatePod. I am at Soph_Ross also, and Christy is at Christy Noel __. Thank you to Jordan, Rachel, and Olivia, our amazing team. And yeah, leave us
And
a 5-star
Kartik.
rating and a review. And Kartik, our new YouTube video person who we are so thankful for.
By the way, you guys, this week on the Patreon, we're talking about Zach, Vanessa, and Ashley of High School Musical. So if you're interested in that, head on over to Patreon, patreon.com/SnarkBaitPod. We
Yes.
do bonus episodes every Wednesday and ad-free episodes from the main over there. And yeah, thank you guys so much for joining us. We'll see you on Tuesday for another episode of DET.
Bye.
Bye.